Doctor Strange is a character that stands at the forefront of Marvel's entire magical hierarchy. And when we really think about it, the difference between Marvel and DC's versions of magic is very, very interesting to think about in almost any specific facet. The way that their magic works so fundamentally differently is very, very interesting to see, and that's honestly why I'm kind of deciding to make a video like this. Making a video just implementing Doctor Strange into the DC universe and seeing how the magic would be so much different and seeing how he would interact with a lot of DC's magical main characters and just really kind of contemplating this idea. If you guys do enjoy this, make sure, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you guys can't get caught up with all the latest videos that I do be posting. But with all of that said, let's actively get into this kind of scenario. To really get this actively started off would be implementing him into the DC universe, and specifically with a character like Doctor Strange. This doesn't need to be, oh, he's just born in the DC universe and he ends up being the same kind of Doctor Strange. For him, he's a character that we could really just be like, he's playing around, just messing around with some kind of magic and just messing around with, like, magic that deals with alternate universes and things that he would normally be doing anyways, and a spell goes very horribly wrong and transports him into the DC universe. That way he still has all of his like Marvel actual history and everything else like that, and he just kind of gets transported and put into a world like this. This would make for a very interesting kind of situation because, one, he's already used to the entire way that Marvel works, and he's already known everything else like that. And as soon as he would get into this kind of DC world, he would automatically feel the innate shift in how magic works and how magic is perceived in this world, and just automatically have to deal with it very, very quickly. Obviously, if we're talking about magic, one of the first people that he would probably have to encounter would be someone like John Constantine. A character that's honestly probably one of my favorite characters in the entirety of DC's magical world, and these two characters would very much have a very rough start if we're thinking about it, due to the fact of them just being fundamentally different kinds of characters and the way that they would just most likely be getting at each other's throat, because Doctor Strange is obviously, as I said, a more ordered, like he's more an ordered kind of person. He is the Sorcerer Supreme. He is the kind of highest person in the entire Marvel world, and he's more, strategic. He's more things. Like, even though Marvel's entire world is more of a free-for-all kind of magical place, when he's the Sorcerer Supreme, he controls more things, and he's more, conscious about what he does. Constantine is the complete opposite. He has no person that he has to look up to. He just basically works solely by himself, and he is his own boss. He does magic however he pleases, and he just has a lot more, carefreeness about him, which is honestly hilarious due to the fact of their universes are basically the exact opposite. And what I mean by that is the exact fact of, well, DC is DC is a world that is magic is more, structured, has Lords of Order and Lords of Chaos, while Marvel is quite literally just free for all. Magic is basically come grab whatever. It's more just like, free roam, be able to do as you please and basically do whatever you need to do in whatever version that you want to do it. It would just make for a very interesting, discussion, and basically make for a very interesting way to actively see these two characters interact in any very specific kind of format. And that is just honestly going to be something cool to see in any very main kind of thing. Obviously, Constantine might see Strange as, way too self-righteous or very much by the book, which is something that I was basically alluding to already earlier. And that would be a very main thing that I honestly see them having a lot of confrontation about. Hence why I don't see them spending a lot of time together, most likely just kind of getting to know each other, figuring out magic just off of that point, and then eventually Strange going off and meeting the other magicians in the entirety of, like, the DC's landscape. Hence why most likely the next person I would see him going to would be somebody like Zatanna. Zatanna really could very much go either way with Doctor Strange, and that is only due to the fact of their magic and the way that they use magic being also fundamentally different. Strange is more, scientific with the way that he uses magic, and Zatanna is more of a performer, more of an actual magician in the way that she uses it. It's more of like a stage presence versus a lot of more, oh, I'm going to put all of the science behind this kind of magic and show exactly how it's supposed to be done. they could make for a very interesting pairing, and it would just be a very interesting way to see these two characters much interact, because of the fact of, well, they are just very two fundamentally different characters in a whole, and that's basically going to be the same thing with Doctor Strange and almost literally any person in the entire DC's landscape when it comes to regarding just magic in general, and entirely anything like that, which would just be very interesting to see. And when we're actively, talking about all of this, and just talking about the DC universe in general, we're going to have to eventually talk about the Justice League and everything else like that, and how he would orchestrate and intertwine himself in a world with these specific characters on it. Obviously, in Marvel world, he's acquainted with the Avengers, sometimes joins their side, and sometimes works alongside them, and I honestly see him doing the same thing with a Justice League like this, and him being such a powerful magician would be a very, very annoyance for someone like Superman, hence why I had Superman in the thumbnail, due to the fact of, Superman's weakness is magic, and when people say that, oh yeah, Superman is weak to magic, I obviously just kind of say he's not weak to magic, he's just as resilient to magic as everyone else. Magic is just one of the things that he doesn't have an affinity to be, not put up against. He is just basically going to be normal, absolutely a normal person when it comes to being dealt with magic against him. So Doctor Strange would just be an interesting, person to counteract someone like Superman, and would probably be added into a contingency plan by Batman. But I honestly see him being a very, very good fit for the entirety of the Justice League, and he would probably be fairly decently well friends with someone like Batman or some of the more serious members of the entirety of the Justice League, which would just be a very interesting thing to see. But kind of just like going off and forward into the story, the main annoyance that I honestly see Doctor Strange being faced with would be the Lords of Order and Chaos, the two basically highest points in the entire magical echelon. And I only see him having a problem with these specific people due to the fact of he is way too much of a more powerful kind of sorcerer that they would automatically just, be interested and almost threatened by him at the exact same time. The Lords of Chaos would probably want to grab him towards their side, and the Lords of Order would too, but I honestly just don't see him really wanting to be playing a part in these games that they're just kind of, paying so much time in, and he would be more annoyed about this kind of very big structure, and he would obviously not want to join the Lords of Chaos because he's not that kind of person. But the Lords of Order are very, very annoying to be dealing with anyway, so I just don't see him wanting to have any kind of relationship with either one of these things. And just speaking of any kind of these people, it would be a much more kind of thing when we have to think about him having to talk with someone like Dr. Fate, due to the fact of, him using, Naboo just basically using the entire mass to control people, and there would be a 999% chance that Naboo would be trying to make Doctor Strange his person that is under the mask, which would make for a very interesting, sight to see, due to the fact that Doctor Strange is just so powerful and already. So him, gaining Naboo or just having Doctor Strange becoming Dr. Fate would be a very interesting thing to see, but that's just, a question for another day. When we just kind of continue on, there's so many other things that I could see him doing. Becoming a member of Justice League Dark, or doing all of these other things, just basically playing a very major role in the entire cosmic landscape of the DC universe, which would just be a very interesting thing to see. But when you really think about it, Doctor Strange could really have so many different eggs and so many different baskets of the DC universe that it is absolutely hilarious to think about. And there's so many things that he could be doing. All of the characters that relate to magic would probably eventually end up coming to Doctor Strange just to, learn different kinds of magic, or him kind of just using the knowledge that he knows from Marvel and creating his own kind of sorcering school in the DC universe to kind of train more people in the magic that he knows and he's learned about, and would just make for a very interesting scenario to go later on forwards anyways. But if you guys did enjoy this kind of, short little idea that I had, please let me know. I know this video is relatively short, but that is because, it is Thanksgiving weekend. I do not have a lot of time on my hands this week to, be doing a very long, in-detailed video. So if you guys would like a longer one, just wait until next week and until schedules free up. But I hope you guys all have a very nice Thanksgiving and really enjoy the rest of this season anyways. But I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.